listen to fall to the floor.
Hello, welcome back to another Pen Talk. Thanks for tuning in. I thought I would do an unboxing because this is something that I eagerly anticipated receiving. Watched a number of videos on this company, Namisu. I'm assuming that's as close as I'm going to get to pronouncing it. I love metal pens, and this is certainly one that attracted my attention, and it happened to be available. These seem to sell out pretty quickly, so it was available and on sale, so I made a purchase. And it arrived in a little bit over a week, so that was great. And let's take a look at how it looks. A lot of noise in the package. I'm always, a little bit shaky about that. When I pack pens to ship them, there's no movement. So let's take a look at what's inside. Just opened up the top. We'll slide out the contents. 2 boxes. Interesting, the nib is separate. So it looks like the pen comes with a steel nib, and I bought the extra fine titanium, which a number of people have done. And on the label is the brand. I mean, Stonewashed titanium, I just blown away. Purchasing experience was very nice, clean, efficient. I like simple packaging. Just pull out the tray, and there's a sleeve, another sleeve, and the pen. That's what was rattling around. So this pen is certainly not going to be damaged being inside of the box like that. It feels nice. It looks nice. Not a lot of detail, simplistic design, but that's kind of the beauty of this. The cap unscrews relatively nicely. There's that steel nib, a box steel nib. It's a cartridge converter. There's your cartridge. It's a nice Schmidt converter, so that's good. My first impressions are exactly what I expected. I expected a nice industrial design and the way it's made, so I wanted to do this unboxing on camera, so now we're going to swap out nibs. Let's take a look at how the titanium, I'm expecting this to be in an assembly, so it just screws in and screws out. And that's exactly what I expected. Excellently packaged, I have to admit. So there's the titanium nib, nice matte finish to it. I have a medium one on my Keras Customs, and obviously that'll be compared to this one because it is another all-metal pen made in the United States versus one made in England. And one I think you can easily take a look and see the difference in the approaches to design. Just unscrew this nib, and it unscrews easily, and gee whiz, the converter's attached to it. So when you're swapping out these nibs, always make certain that you remove the converter before you swap the nib. Titanium one just screws in. It's a nice collar there that stops. Part of the design of any type of hand machine pen is getting all the tolerances right. And so far they've done an excellent job. I'm going to do a swish out, put some ink in here, play around with it, and then we'll review it with against some other pens, and then we'll put this nib to paper. Of 4 all-metal pens. The Namisu here, the Keras Customs ink in Stonewashed brown, the Delta MoMA design in blue aluminum, and your Diplomat Aero in brown. So one of the things I thought would be fun is just take a look at the weights, because generally all metal pens are not known for being light. So we'll start with the Namisu Nova, which looks like it's coming in at 50 grams. Certainly not a lightweight. Karas Customs 47.4, again, not a lightweight. Delta Moma Design, whoa, we're getting lighter, 39.2. And then the Diplomat Arrow, which comes in at a 41.9. So it's interesting how they change. I mean, 3 of these pens are aluminum. The 4th one is titanium. And there's a wide variety of sections here. The arrow and the ink are pretty small, relatively speaking. The MoMA is medium size. And then the Namisu Nova, I would say, is definitely on the larger side. You have 2 of them with block style threads, one with your normal medium machine threads, and one with a snap cap. All of them have fairly decent sized nibs, and what's interesting is I lined them all up so the bottom of the section's lined up so you could see the actual length from the bottom of the section to the end of the nib. The Diplomat, I think, has their own unique nib. It's a polished steel nib. The MoMA design is kind of like a shadow nib. It kind of like has a dark, maybe rhodium plating on it. And then these 2 are Bach titanium nibs. Both appear to be fine. This is definitely called an extra fine, and this I think was to be called a medium, but this one, they both have that same nib assembly, but this one screws fairly deeply into the section, so a lot of the nib is hidden underneath of the section. You can see here the assembly comes right to the end. About the Namisu Nova being similar to the Lamy 2000, which has been around since the 60s and is considered Bauhaus design or minimalistic form over function type of design. There are similarities, but I don't consider them to be significant. You know, this has a clip. This one doesn't, and it doesn't have a clip by design, not because they didn't want to put a clip on it or, you know. And the other thing that I think is interesting is when you look at them with the writing end, you'll notice a substantial difference. We'll put the ends of the nibs together. So this has a classic section, and this has that semi-hooded nib with that section it tapers down towards the nib. The texture on these 2 pens, they feel completely different. The weight's completely different, and certainly when you look at them in this way, and you could post this. This is not a pen I would post primarily for weight, but you know, they're not the same. Where we look at the functional part. This is an instrument designed to put ink on paper, to write, to record your thoughts, to share your thoughts. So it fits fine in the hand. It feels good in the hand. The metal section is slightly more slippery than other sections, but certainly not on the, I wouldn't call it on the slippery side. And I just like the fact that this finish feels consistent across the entire pen. And it doesn't feel like anything that I have in any of my other pens, and I enjoy that. This was just me not putting the nib on the paper with enough pressure on it. I love this nib. I love this nib on the Karas Customs. And it's just nice. It has that nice springiness to it. Great flow. This is Roher and Klinger Sepia, which is one of my favorite sepias now. You can see how that varies between the different strokes. And with a little bit of pressure, it opens up, and with more pressure, I mean, that's as much as you want to push this nib. You know, it does have the capacity for springing, and I did spring the nib in my Stipula T-Flex. You may hear that this is smooth. I reprimed it. I moved the converter down because there was a little bit of ink that leaked out. Could have been air pressure, could have been temperature change, but the pen, this is not, when I was writing with this before, it was extremely consistent, very nice, and great flow, as you can see. So just for the sake of comparison, we'll take a look at how my other Bach titanium nib writes on the Keras Customs ink. Another pen that I like, a different section, and this actually feels a little bit more slippery if you want to be very, very, fine-tuning about how the metal section feels, but I think that's part of a metal section. Then this is a medium, which you can see there's not a substantial difference between this extra fine and the medium, and this really gushes out also. And I have to apologize, this is Rawher and Klinger Sepia. This, which has some nice shading to it, is Robert Oster Gold Antigua. My mistake. I've been playing back and forth between the two pens, and my dyslexia extends beyond just words. That's a good showing of the differences between the two inks. Obviously, this has a lighter look to it, and this is darker. So hopefully you've enjoyed this look at some metal pens, and especially this new one in my collection, which is definitely one of the more unique pens that I have. And like the Keras Customs, it's handmade, hand-turned from a solid rod of metal. And both have unique characteristics to it. You know, this clip is Stonewashed, which, Stonewashed stainless versus Stonewashed titanium. Now, it was a slightly different color to them. The titanium has a unique color. I have to be very clear about that. It is not like any other colored metal. And when I was into jewelry, used to be able to oxidize titanium and make some really interesting colors on it. I haven't seen anybody doing it recently, but time goes on. So thank you for watching. Hopefully you've enjoyed this look at a pen. I know there's been a couple other reviews out there which encouraged me to buy it, so I felt I needed to share that with my viewers. And this nib is very nice. Bach has really done an excellent job with these titanium nibs, and if you get an opportunity to try one out, I definitely encourage you to do that. And maybe someday, if you like it, you'll be able to have a pen with it too. So may you have many great writing experiences. Enjoy nib, ink, and paper. Till later, bye.